Hello. Today we're going to be talking about my thesis titled Caregiver Support and the Mental Health of Transgender and Gender Expansive Youth, Race-Specific Effects in a Clinic-Based Sample. As a bit about me, my name is Whitney Maneri. I use she, her pronouns. I'm an MPH candidate with the class of 2020 at the Yale School of Public Health, and I was a summer 2019 intern at the Yale New Haven Hospital Pediatric Gender Program. Transgender and gender expansive youth are youth whose gender identity does not align with their sex assigned at birth. This image from the Trans Student Educational Resource depicts that there are 5 main aspects to one's gender identity and sexual orientation. These are all independent of one another. Today we'll be talking about cis and trans individuals. Somebody who's a cis woman identifies as a woman throughout her life and happened to be assigned female at birth. A trans woman is somebody who also identifies as a woman but was assigned a male at birth. We'll be using these terms periodically throughout this presentation. The prevalence of mental health diagnoses are concerned with the TGE population, with TGE youth having 3 times the odds of anxiety, 2.5 times the odds of depression, and 9 times the odds of attempting suicide in their lifetime compared to cisgender individuals. Additionally, TGE youth are more likely to attempt suicide at earlier ages compared to cisgender individuals, with the median age of first suicide attempt being 15 for trans males and 16 for trans females. This is much younger than the cisgender population, in which the mean age is 31 for cis males and 26 for cis females. This is partially explained by the gender minority stress model. This model illustrates how distal and proximal stress factors negatively impact one's mental and physical health. Specifically, gender-related discrimination, rejection, and victimization, and the non-affirmation of gender identity influence the internalized transphobia, negative expectation, and concealment one might feel. Both of these stress factors tie to poorer mental health outcomes. However, it's been found that in the absence of these stress factors, TGE individuals have decreased rates of anxiety, depression, and suicidality. Specifically for TGE youth, studies have found that decreased rates of these mental health conditions are seen in TGE youth who are socially transitioned, called by their affirmed name, or supported in their gender identity by their parents. However, little is known as to if or how race factors into the interaction between support and mental health. That leads us to the study aim for this current presentation. It was to investigate how race interacts with the relationship between caregiver support and mental health in TGE youth. To investigate this, we looked at 81 TGE youth between the ages of 19 and 11 who participated in an intake evaluation between the years 2014 and 2019 at the Yale New Haven Hospital Pediatric Gender Clinic. Within this sample of youth, 72% were trans males, 18% were trans females, and 10% were non-binary. 2/3 identified as white, whereas 1/3 of the population identified as youth of color. Youth were administered 3 questionnaires, the first of which was a support measure asking youth to detail how supportive they felt their parents were of their gender identity. The other 2 were self-reporting standardized screening tools, one that looked at anxiety and one that looked at depression. As you can see here, I ran an interaction model to see how race interacted with the relationship between support and mental health. And from this, we found that youth of color had significantly decreased odds of anxiety and depression when they felt supported by their caregivers. This is depicted through these 2 graphs. On the left, we see that youth who had high anxiety also felt less supported by their parents, whereas youth who felt more supported had lower rates of anxiety. This held true in depression as well. However, there is a distinction between youth of color, here the blue line, and youth who are non-Latinx white, here with the red line. While there was found to be a negative correlation between anxiety and support, as well as depression and support as rated by the child in white youth, this was not found to be significant. Therefore, our main findings from this study were that TGE youth have decreased odds of anxiety and depression when they feel supported by their caregivers. Looking to previous research on race, we see that minority adolescents look to family members for guidance and support through instances of stigma and discrimination. TGE youth often do not share the same stigmatized identity, however, and therefore their family members cannot provide primary group member social support in the same way that they can with race ethnicity. Additionally, parental support may be especially important for African American and Latinx youth, given that these youth place a strong value on family relationships. Additionally, they place a higher value on family interaction compared to their white counterparts. These findings have clinical implications, specifically surrounding the importance of incorporating family and intersectionality into therapy with TGE youth. Family therapy provides a place for families to navigate a youth's gender journey and address the ways race, ethnicity, income, disability status, and immigration status may influence their acceptance of said gender identity. The limitations from this study come from the design being both cross-sectional and clinic-based. Specifically, all youth who participated in this study were out to their parents and had enough caregiver support for the parents to bring them to the clinic to discuss their gender identity. Further studies should investigate ways to incorporate the population of TGE youth who are not out to their parents or who are not accepted by their caregivers. Finally, I would like to give my thanks to Christy Olazeski and the team at the Yale New Haven Pediatric Gender Program, John Pachenkas and the team at the STEAM Lab at Yale School of Public Health, and finally, my fellow classmates and dearest friends at Yale School of Public Health. If you have any questions or would like a complete version of this thesis, don't hesitate to email me at whitney.maneri@yale.edu. And finally, I give you my list of references. If this topic interests you, feel free to look at any of these articles to gain more information. Thank you so much.